Okay, good morning. We are live on LinkedIn. We are also live on Zoom. Welcome to Friday Coffee Meetup. I am Christy Connor, your host. We are so pleased to have everybody here with us on our almost 4th of July weekend. Friday Coffee Meetup is the largest active innovation, entrepreneurial, and tech meetup in Los Angeles, California. We are virtual for COVID, so we are around the world, and I'm around the world right now, but we are so glad to have you here with us. If you are on LinkedIn Live, that is an unmoderated channel, but you can also join the Zoom. The information is in the LinkedIn Live post, and you can join us and ask your questions over in the Zoom meeting. We're glad to have you here with us today. And although you are seeing my face, I'm actually going to show you all of the faces that put this together each week. They are a great gift to us. They do things from organizing logistics and setting up information. Let me share with you their faces here. These are the people that we need to thank each week. They help us make this happen. It's a community-based effort. We are here for the community to spur innovation in the Southern California area. So we are grateful to each of them for their ongoing contributions to build our community each week. And we are also sponsored by Echo Factory, so we are grateful to them as well. So those are the important people that you're seeing today. And we have another important person joining us as well. We are going to be speaking to Jessica Corbin in just a moment. A few logistical things today. Our Q&A will be handled via the Q&A panel at the bottom center of the screen. Our chat window is open, but it is unmoderated. So go ahead and put your questions into the Q&A panel at the bottom after Jessica's presentation today. I will aggregate those and ask those to her. One thing to note, I've been learning, if you use acronyms, please explain what they are in your question. That will help me to choose your question to ask. So we are so pleased to have Jessica Corbin with us here today. She is going to be talking to us about the entrepreneurial path and resilience. It has been such a difficult year, the past period, and I know that we've all struggled, so I'm really interested to hear from her. She's going to talk about how these personal obstacles can help achieve founder market fit. And for her, obstacles aren't a challenge in the past. They are actually the way to find your path. It's how these personal crises lead you to kind of having light bulb moments and help you figure out your entrepreneurial journey. I'm excited to hear from her because she has an extensive background in media and content. She's spent years as an executive producer and featured correspondent for mainstream TV networks and programs, among them CNN, ABC, and the Science Channel, among many others as well. Jessica, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. Welcome.
Thank you, Christy. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I really hope that today's workshop serves you in some way. Many of you, I'm assuming, are entrepreneurs. The content I'm going to be sharing, though, isn't just for entrepreneurs, although I would definitely say it benefits entrepreneurs tremendously. What we have all encountered this past year through COVID has been incredibly taxing, and so today, although ultimately I'm going to talk about resilience, what we have all gone through and probably been touched by to some degree is burnout. It's that feeling of not being able to get a break from the load, from the incessant stress, and that can tax our systems over time. And many of us have been left with kind of we've given ourselves one option, which is dig deep, push through. I'm going to white knuckle through this experience. And that can work for an acute time. The thing is that when it starts to add up, weeks add into months, add into now years, this approach of digging deep and pushing through and white knuckling, it actually produces a series of undesirables, but it wasn't of any fault of your own. many of you are doing the very, very best you can. But I had a personal crisis before COVID, about a decade prior. And I learned the hard way that trying to just use my will to dig deep, push through, white knuckle, that it was very limited. It was actually a recipe for disaster. And I actually found through my experience a healthier way to respond to what I call your body whispers, my body whispers. Our body is a tuning fork for truth, is what I say. And if you learn how to decode these messages that your body mind vehicle is sending you, you can really turn this information into a stepping stone for your resilience, for your flourishing. And if you are on the entrepreneurial path, use these obstacles as stepping stones to really find what is called founder market fit. So I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation now for you guys. Hold on one second. And here we are. So as Christy so generously gave my introduction, I'll just kind of hit some high points real quick just for context. Again, my name is Jessica Corbin. I am the founder, and I call myself a chief energy officer of Source. I have a co-founder. All you entrepreneurs out there, it's another tip. If you want to be resilient, find yourself a really good co-founder. My co-founder is Christy Brito. She is my work wife. My ride or die, and I hope is listening right now. What's up, Christy? But as I was saying, my personal journey has informed me in not just developing my company Source, but in finding this thing called founder market fit. I was an athlete prior to my career, you guys. I was an athlete. I was a cross country and track athlete. I ran at UCLA. I was a 5,000 meter runner. I was an All-American. And then I eventually ran with the Olympic torch in 1996. So high performance has always been my jam. I always wanted to figure out how to unlock potential. I took all that drive, put it into my career in media that Christy so generously spoke about. And then life struck. Just as life struck many of you during COVID, life struck me a decade or two before when my brother had an accident. He had incurred a traumatic head injury. It put our family kind of into crisis mode for years because he was in a coma for an extended period of time. And it was during this time that I had realized how depleted I was and how depleted I let myself become. By the age of 30, I came down with a debilitating case of adrenal fatigue. And even after all my success in my career, I had to move home to get well. And it was during this time of moving home that I started to put the puzzle pieces back together on my life, on my health, what had happened. Let me mind you guys, I had also had my certifications in fitness and yoga, transformational coaching, body work, and yet there was still a missing piece that if I had known, I wouldn't have gotten into such a pickle with burnout. But all of that culminated in my solution, which was Source, a product and a company that I deeply believe in. And once I found the solution to my own healing, I felt so compelled into creating the company that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. And also, hopefully, my lessons can inspire your path forward. So this is the entrepreneur's path to resilience, and it's really about embracing your obstacles to achieve founder market fit. Now, I will tell you guys that I had no idea what founder market fit was. We have been building Source for quite some time. And we actually just went into our seed round about 6 months ago. And when we were doing the pitches to investors, which I'm sure many of you are accustomed to now, we started to hear back that we had achieved founder market fit. Now, I had heard of the ever elusive product market fit. Everybody's gunning for that. So when I started to hear that we had founder market fit, I actually thought investors were misspeaking. I thought that they were saying it wrong. But I heard it again and again and again. And so I Googled it. What is founder market fit? Founder market fit means founders have a deep understanding of the market they're entering, and they are people who personify their product, business, and ultimately their company. again, this is not something that I set out to achieve. It was something that happened as a byproduct of myself and my co-founder using our obstacles as stepping stones every step of the way. And I believe this journey in entrepreneurship will leave you not only with an incredible product or service, but with radical levels of resilience if you can embrace these 4 principles. And so principle number 1 is the path begins with you solving your own problem. Some of the world's greatest ideas were born from founders solving their own problem. So I'm going to give you a few examples. 1, Dollar Shave Club. Their problem was decent razor blades are too expensive. The solution, deliver fucking great blades to your door every month at a reasonable price. Salesforce, you've heard of them. Their problem, on-prem software installation and maintenance, is too expensive. The solution, host software in the cloud that is just as reliable as on-prem, reducing deployment costs. And then of course, SpaceX, Elon, problem, space travel is too expensive. The solution, reuse rocket components to reduce the cost of launches. So my personal problem was that I was super passionate about optimal health and unlocking potential. And yet here I was having moved back in with my parents, dying on the vine. Big problem, big problem. But the solution ended up being to create a piece of technology that objectively assesses stress on a daily basis to help people regenerate their energy supply. So what you all have to remember is that your problem is the market's solution. And if you solve it authentically, we all win. And that brings me to principle number 2. Now, I have 4 principles. The first 2 are real quick. So principle number 2 is you have to stay true to your experience. If you find that you're trying to be someone that you aren't currently, I just want you to pause. And I want you to actually understand that you being able to meet whatever you're up against authentically with sincerity, earnestness, transparency, it's going to benefit your company and your brand. Because if you're trying to be anything other than you, you're going to repel people. And people can smell disingenuousness. If you're being disauthentic, you are not going to achieve founder market fit. And so you have to embrace the mess of your experience, whatever that is, because this authentic solve is going to affect your culture. It's going to affect your brand, your design, your strategy. You know, for us, a lot of times we think about trying to like scale and automate, you know, the technology across the globe. But the cost of losing the human connection is real. If that is your only focus. For us, authentically who we are as a company is we're data-driven, but we're human-centered. We are never going to lose the heartbeat of this company. And that's something that's very, very important to solving burnout. And so it's an authentic expression of our brand. You have to allow it to permeate every area. So it's going to be your unique vantage point that is going to take your company to the next level. Okay, so notice what is stopping you from owning yourself, right? Owning your perspective completely. If you turn those blocks into breakthroughs, your business and brand will be distinctively authentic. Let's talk about principle number 3 then. Again, this path, it's riddled with obstacles. But you have to remember that your treasure lies in the gap. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper on these final 2 principles, and then I'll open it up to Q&A. Your blocks, your resistance, and you just got to get honest with yourself where they are at. These places are the hidden places to look when you stop making progress on your entrepreneurial path. So what do I mean? If you have a pen and a paper nearby, I would highly recommend jotting down this exercise. The next 2 exercises I'm going to give you, they have the capacity to open up what I call the goal line of your development, right? So what we want to look at is what you really, really want for yourself. We want to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And so I want you to first identify what you really, really, really want. Put that ideal up top. Then I want you to name your current reality, your current experience, where you are, and then the gap. This is the gold. What is getting in the way? What is separating you from your ideal? Get real about this. And it's very important that you do this exercise as uncensored as possible. There's no right answer. You just want to be candid with yourself more than anyone, right? And so I'm going to bring you in to my mind and experience to illustrate this exercise. So my ideal was, I want to heal my burnout. Again, I don't know how extreme your burnout is right now, but mine was so debilitating that I literally could not have a functioning full day. I felt so bone tired all the time. I would exchange anything to heal this feeling that I had. So my ideal, number one, heal my burnout. And then, because I knew that I wasn't the only one suffering, that humanity was suffering at large, I wanted to create a product that helped solve this human energy crisis. And then in order to do that, I need to find a world-class team, right? But my current reality, if I got honest about it, was, I was exhausted, but I was hopeful. I got that weird entrepreneurial thing where I had that like excessive optimism, even though I was suffering, just excessively optimistic. So I was exhausted, but I was still hopeful. I knew there had to be a way, right? I had no clue on how to create a tech product though. I wasn't a tech CEO in my past. How was I going to do this? I had no clue. And I had no team. Now, here's the gold. When I ask myself, and you have to pause and you go, okay, now what is separating me from that ideal? This is what was separating me. I thought there was no time to heal. I'm not able to run a tech company, and no one will want to be on my team. That's what I thought, if I was getting really honest. Now, what you need to understand is that whatever comes through in the gap here, these are your internal obstacles, and they are not in the way, they are the way. And many times, you guys, what these obstacles are is a belief. It's not even reality. Remember, a belief is just a thought that we thought a lot. It's not necessarily true. So you got to look in the gap of your experience and go, is any of this even true? Right? And so that brings us into the next exercise. And it's so elegant and quick. And some of you may have heard of it, but you have to inquire into these beliefs here. You got to inquire into the blocks to see if there's any merit, to see if they're even true. And the most elegant, quick way to do that is something that I found called The Work by Byron Katie. It's 4 simple questions that you can ask yourself anytime that you hit a negative belief, a limiting belief about yourself. Because what is going to honestly keep you from achieving your dreams more than anything is your belief in you and the possibility of your dream. And so you've got to do the work, okay? And so I'm just going to illustrate this real quick. You take one of those limiting beliefs, right? And you ask yourself, is this true? Right? Then you ask yourself, how do I treat myself and others when I believe this thought? And then you ask yourself, if I could never access this thought again, if this thought was deleted forever, goodbye, amen, how would I feel? And then you got to turn that belief around. And so for me, I'm just going to take there's no time to heal as the example. I sat with that. Is this true? Is there no time to heal? Can I absolutely with 100% certainty know that this is not true? Or is this true? The answer is, I couldn't say that this was absolutely true. No, there was some part of me that thought, no, there is time. I just haven't made time. And you guys, anything worthwhile, you got to make time for. I had to make time for my healing. And I did. Now, when I believe this, though, that there's no time to heal, I treated myself, I treated myself like I was in a race. I would push myself. I would be short with others. I would be agitated, frustrated, because I thought there's no time to heal. And so that was a very stressful thought. But if I could delete this thought and never think that thought again, all of a sudden, I felt freedom. I felt space. So then when I turned that belief around, and all you got to do, you guys, is turn it into its inverse and give a few real life examples. So I went from there's no time to heal to there is time to heal. And then I put some real life examples behind that. Oh, I got time in the morning. I can take 10 minutes in the morning. I can get to bed earlier. I can start to read that book that I've been wanting to read for a very long time that had some good ideas around it. There was time. And now I was ready to make time. And that is the change that changes everything. Okay. Now, finally, let's bring you to principle number 4. This is a big one. And it's something that we are hanging our hat on at Source. You have to manage your energy. The thing is that the interconnectedness of life, the technology has outpaced our nervous systems. We are getting tased every single day with stimulus in a way that we weren't designed for. And so we need to now bring your conscious choice firmly online and really give you guys a true understanding about how to get the most out of yourself. And here it is. The thing that is driving your burnout and most people's burnout is a misunderstanding. Most people think that the more effort I put into something, the more benefit that I attain. You would think that, right? So if I just keep digging deep and pushing through that, I will eventually win the game. But that is not how your body-mind vehicle works. Your body-mind vehicle operates on different laws, and it works like this. So when I had to move home to heal, this was the critical missing piece. This is the science of stress. Now, I want to underscore here that stress in and of itself is not a bad thing. You need stress in order to get stronger, get faster, and achieve anything worthwhile. So too little stress is going to cause a series of undesirables and put you in the red zone over there to the left. Okay, so too little stress, you're going to become bored, you're going to have difficulty focusing, you're going to experience depression and apathy. So you have to actually put the pedal to the metal and exert a little bit more. When you exert a little bit more, now we're going to get into the yellow zone. This is where you become generally functional. You're still not optimal. So if you effort a little bit more, now we start to get into the green zone, the sweet spot. This is where peak states live. This is where optimal stress. This is where the ever elusive flow lives. And this is where you want to be every single day. But all too often, people, because a little bit of effort or moderate effort got them into this green zone, they think more effort will get them into a greener zone. That isn't how it works. You're going to go over the falls and you're going to start to experience plateaus. Some of you, constant headaches, agitation, irritation, frustration, maybe not sleeping as well. And eventually, if you are a type A person, like I am, without the proper knowledge, you might find yourself in the red zone over there to the right. That's where burnout lives. And that's where all the high ticket costing items for organizations live as far as well-being and health is concerned, right? So cardiac dysfunction, anxiety, depression, just all the undesirables live there. So the question is, how do I get in the green zone every single day? Now, Source does this objectively looking at a biomarker called heart rate variability, but I want to give each and every one of you a tool and a practice that you can use today, no more waiting, okay? And all you're going to do is start to take your energetic temperature. First thing in the morning, you're going to wake up and you're going to do a body scan, and you're going to give yourself a number between 1 and 10. Now, if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4, this is a recover day. Okay. And what a recover day means is that your body is not recovered from the prior day's stress and you need more self-care. This does not mean that you have to call in sick. If you are, please do. But a lot of times it doesn't require that. I work on recovery days all the time, but how I am with myself during my recovery day is fundamentally different. I lay off the alcohol. I get to bed a little bit earlier. I choose to move my body, but it's leisure, restorative in nature. It's not a spin class or a boxing class or anything too aggressive. And I take some time to get to bed early. If I wake up and I'm a 5, 6, and 7, this is a maintain day. This means my body is somewhat recovered, but I'm still not primed for big efforts. So I get to bed at a normal hour. I don't burn the midnight oil. I carve out time for moderate exercise. I eat a really balanced diet, right? But when I'm an 8, 9, and 10, and this is where, of course, all of us high achievers want to be every single day, but guess what? You can't. You're not designed that way. You have to start to embrace ebb and flow. But when you're a push day, get going, get to stepping. This is when you can do all the things that tax your system, have the hard conversations, tackle the more difficult tasks on the to-do list, Have an extra cocktail. Yeah. Your body can handle it on those days. Do that spin class, max out, whatever, go crazy. But what you guys need to understand is that you have an energetic stock market that exists inside your system, right? You know how to play the regular stock market. The same investment principles apply, right? There's certain days to save, there's certain days to invest, know what to do when your energetic portfolio rises. This is critical in order for you to achieve your dreams. Without you understanding how to modulate your efforts to precision, you will not be able to complete the marathon required of you on this entrepreneurial path. And remember, when you are living in deeper energetic alignment with yourself, you're going to be the best, most authentic version of yourself. And so really embrace this principle with your whole heart. Okay. And so that's the path, you guys. Number one, it begins with solving your own problem. What's the problem? What's the solution? Stay true to your experience. Number two, remember, your treasure lies in the gap. Always do that exercise with yourself. What's my ideal? Where am I? And what do I feel is separating me from that? If there are any limiting beliefs, rework those limiting beliefs, create the internal space, and keep moving forward. And very important, principle number four, manage that energy, because you're not just in a marathon, you're in an ultra marathon, let's be honest, right? This is going to take patience and time and persistence in showing up, and you want to stay healthy the whole way through. If you guys do this, you will learn how to use your personal obstacles to achieve founder market fit. Okay. So with that, I would love to open it up to Q&A. Anybody has any additional questions? I'm happy.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing, about your experience and being vulnerable with us, as well as giving us some actual tangible tips that can be used to help address how we deal with stress. There was a question about the video. The video, you can find it on LinkedIn Live on my profile. I put that in the chat. Another question that we've received is, I overdo it all the time. Is there a way for detox to begin?
The detox is going to happen with, in regards to disrupting the momentum of the doing. You have to shift from being a human doing to a human being. You have to start embracing what it means to not do, and to in more of a present, open awareness kind of way. Just remember that a lot of your patterns in the doing, they just have years of momentum behind them. And so it's going to be uncomfortable to step off and step out of that momentum. You can imagine that you're in a river that just is moving, and then you're going to move out of this river. You're going to grab, kind of a branch on the side of the river, and you're going to pull yourself over to the side, and you're just going to allow and watch that momentum just keep rushing past. And you're just going to sit, and if you can just choose 5 minutes to sit and start to rewire how your nervous system works, you will do yourself a great service. The thing is that, your nervous system is built with a parasympathetic arm and a sympathetic arm. Now, the sympathetic side of your arm is your fight and flight response. Now, you may not think that you're in fight or flight, because there's no immediate, tiger at your door, but your nervous system has been being consistently tased, right? And stimulated. And this over time adds up to it feeling like there's always something that you're running from. And so you have to actually consciously choose to get out of that state and move into your parasympathetic nervous system response. How do you do that? The easiest way to do that is close your computer, turn off your phone, sit your booty down, and take deep belly breaths. It's the easiest way, and it's free. There's so many other ways to do it, but that's the easiest way, and it's free. And if you can just do that a few times a day, you're going to start to strengthen the parasympathetic arm so that your relaxation response is more dominant, more online, because the truth is that most people's parasympathetic arm has atrophied because of, as I've said before, how our culture has wired itself to always be online. You have to take your system offline and start to strengthen the parasympathetic arm of your nervous system so that you can drop into your state of rest and digest, more global ways of thinking, and give your body, mind, vehicle time to recover. So that's how I would answer the detox question.
Thank you for that. You mentioned that no one would partner with you. How did you find your partners, especially your technical partners?
Yes, great question. Oh my gosh. So I was very fortunate. I found my co-founder probably 2 years into my journey to get this product up and off the ground. And our connection was something that is rare. And if you find it, don't let it go. And it's just that we had these very complementary skill sets. So I'm a very global thinker. Innovation is my thing. And she's all about putting puzzles together, and she's really, really granular. And we could feel kind of this fit early. And so we just committed to each other, and we're both really tenacious and really resourceful. And so we just didn't take no for an answer, because we really believe in what we're doing. And then over time, the little momentum that we were able to create turned into bigger. And then we started to get better looks from organizations, got some pilots. And this is just her and I. And then eventually, through networking and just staying really communicative about what we were up to, we eventually met Galen Buckwalter through an advisor of ours. And that led us to meeting our head of product and our CPO. And so it was just about, once again, staying really, really authentic to the process, staying communicative about our area of expertise. What Christy and I were willing to do, other people weren't willing to do, and honestly didn't have the privilege or the feasibility to do. So her and I were able to sit in the trenches with companies, not for months, but for years, to learn how to create a product that was actually going to serve their culture. We weren't coming in saying, this is how you guys do it. We came in saying, we got this really cool idea. We want to work with you to learn how to refine this. Once we felt like we had the map, then we set out to raise the money. But we were lucky because of a series of things I won't get into now. We were able to get a product to market that was self-funded. And so we didn't, need the robust technical team initially. We just needed to test our initial idea in the trenches in situation. But then we were able to attract the right people. And so for me, and then this is just a little, I don't want to say esoteric, but for me, it's a feeling. There were weeks and months where I'm like not feeling we're making any progress, but in my body, I could feel that it was not time to let this go. Like I could feel that we are not done, but the patience that you have to flex on this path is serious. And let me just redefine patience. Patience means deep friendliness with yourself. It's not waiting. You have to keep good company on this path. And that's why a good co-founder is so critical, is because you can keep good company with each other, If that's a mismatch, it's going to be hard to endure.
A question, who is using Source now? Is it out?
Yes. So we are happy to say that we have groups at Mars. We have groups at Activision Blizzard. We have groups at, Christy, you're going to kill me. We have Mars, Activision, Autodesk, Concerto Health. We're about to go into major organizations that I'm not free to share of in the fall. And so we were able to get some good looks early. And we have stayed really committed to these clients that have now translated into bigger deals. And so it's that's who we're working with at this time. Oh, Accenture. Thank you, Christy. She just psychically pinged me. Accenture. We're in with them right now.
Wonderful. Can you talk a little bit more about the metrics that you're tracking and kind of the biofeedback piece of it?
Yes, this is so important. So when you're trying to solve for burnout, you have to know what to look at. Right now, for the most part in the landscape, organizations are doing their very best. They know stress is a problem. They know burnout is a problem. They're trying to solve it, but they, to date, until we came along, have not had the proper objective metrics to know where to treat burnout in the organization when. And so that's because there was no biometric component. They're using things like surveys and they're taking them at the end of the quarter. And so at the end of the quarter, they find out that the XY team has been burnt out, but now we're behind the 8 ball. When you have real-time analytics, like is tracking the nervous system of culture, we can get upstream on this issue super quick. We can see when the degradation is happening in data so that we can actually deploy resources and support when it's needed in a timely fashion. And so our core biomarker is heart rate variability. And like I said before, though, it isn't just about data. We're data driven. You got to have that objective metric, but we're human centered. What gets people to stay engaged, motivated, and accountable, and to make positive change is coaching. And so our whole platform wraps coaching around the biomarker so that people understand what to do with this information. Because again, people are just doing the very best they can. They just don't understand that. They don't understand what's going to move the needle. And they certainly don't think that they can take 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, 4 weeks off, or a year off, you know, that because a lot of times that's what people think that they need. Because the pressure gets to be too much that they just feel like they have to quit it all. I know I did. But the truth is that if you learn how to dose yourself appropriately with things like, you know, food and exercise and mindfulness and all the variety of coaching that we did, that you can actually shore yourself up quick. But it's about knowing what to do when. And a lot of people just are so confused inside their bodies. They haven't learned the natural language of their body and these body whispers. They don't know how to use their body like a tuning fork yet, but that's what Source teaches you to do, right? Is to get back into touch with the source of who you are and your innate intelligence. All of this information is right here. You were born with it. It's just you haven't learned how to translate it. And so that's what Source does. It helps individuals and organizations translate the wisdom of their own bodies.
And as we kind of wrap up, did this bring up any other things that you might want to share with us, or exciting things that you're looking forward to kind of going forward?
I mean, we have so many exciting things going forward. I would say, I'll kind of mine the mind share of the group here, is that we are now expanding our coaching catalog. And so if you have or are in touch with any world-class health performance coach, I would love to learn about them in the areas of, you know, creativity, sleep, work-life balance, emotional health, mindset, neuroscience. We are growing our catalog to feature some of the world's greatest coaches. I know we have some on the call today. What's up, Deb? She's on our platform, Deb Lauren. You can look her up on LinkedIn, an incredible coach that really has walked the path herself. And so if you have any recommendations, we would love to hear them. You can just email me directly, jessica@source.io. And beyond that, we are going to have a major facelift and release of the platform. V2 of Source is coming out in September. And I really just cannot wait to show everybody what we have been working on.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We've actually had some technical challenges today, so we are not going to do open networking today. But we are so grateful for you coming and sharing with us. Jessica, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you to everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
I said my pleasure. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. To those of you that are online, thank you so much for joining us. Please be sure and join us again. We will be meeting again to hear from Jillian DeLune, celebrating a not normal founder journey to disruptive tech on the 16th. So we will look forward to seeing you then. Thank you, everyone. Take good care.